Welcome back to AFTV, everyone. If you've watched the preview, big thanks for joining us here on the Pitch 11. If you haven't, go and watch the preview. We've got everything covered here on AFTV, box to box as well, and plenty other content ahead of Arsenal's trip here, Selhurst Park, on a Monday night. Like I said in the preview, we've showed up despite the weather. Arsenal, you better show up. And we're going to talk about the 11 that's expected to show up and put in a big performance and collect 3 points. Now, we're going to go through the 11 as Laurie touched on in the preview. We're expecting 4-3-3 from Mikel Arteta, as he's gone with pretty consistently for the last year and a half or so. But for the first time, there's actually a conversation around goalkeepers. David Raya, Aaron Ramsdale, or as Cecil said, check out the outtakes at the end of this video, Matt Hind. Come on.
I know.
Matt.
Arsenal
Matt Turner left. Matt Turner left.
That's where I got the confused.
It's Carl Hind.
I was like, why am I saying Matt? But anyway, yes, Carl Hind.
So proper debate in goal now.
Yeah, listen, I'm going for Ramsdale. Obviously, there's a temptation from the manager to put Raya straight in, but I think he'll resist that. He'll show a bit of faith with Ramsdale, I believe. And, yeah, I'm going for Ramsdale.
Yeah, I agree. Ramsdale, I think, starts. I don't think Raya, who did get a lot of minutes, apparently, in this behind closed door friendly against Luton in a 3-0 win. I'd be amazed if he took Ramsdale out of the team.
Yeah, it's going to be Ramsdale. There's not really much conversation to have on it. There's going to be some changes, I reckon, obviously, in front of Ramsdale. So he's going to stick to what he knows, and Ramsdale's best suited for that. Okay.
So we saw Lee Judges throwing a tantrum in the starting 11 show when Partey started right back. Arteta played around with the system to basically try to get more of his technicians and
I agree with
more
him.
of his midfielders. You agree with Lee Judges?
I don't... Seeing Partey at right back is a horror show for me.
Do you think?
Yeah.
What made it a horror show?
It doesn't look, for me, it's not pleasing on the eye. It doesn't seem so massively comfortable there. I know he played there before at Atletico Madrid, but for me, nah, it just doesn't feel right. It feels clunky. That's the best way to explain it for me. It feels clunky. There's not enough support there, I think, for Bukayo Saka. What Ben White offers there, what Timber's offered there, is completely different when I see Partey there. I don't like it.
I think Arsenal fans, I think they weren't happy with the 11 and they didn't see a great performance and they wanted to just couple 2 and 2 together and ultimately be critical about it. And I understand that, yeah, we weren't at our best, but he was trying different things. And I thought for most of that game we looked fine. So with Partey,
I've never liked it though, James. It wasn't from that game. I've seen he's played there before for Arsenal. And
but we smashed Wolves 5-0 on the final day of last season and he looked okay there. And I know, okay, end of the season and we have nothing to play for, but I don't know.
Wolves.
What did you make of the Partey? Right, but don't get me wrong, because we're about to predict our 11. I'm not going for Partey there. I don't think that's the answer, but I don't understand why it caused such uproar.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think there's a general consensus here, as with most Arsenal fans, to be honest. I prefer to see Partey in midfield where he belongs. But I do agree with you. There's no sense of outrage from my part. But I do also agree with Cecil when he said it looked a bit clunky, it didn't look right. And I don't think here is the right place to continue that experiment.
Okay, no, I agree. I don't think you should experiment here, or at least build on that. I think they could work on that behind closed doors in those friendlies and maybe, other ties where maybe the home games make sense. But here, so we're predicting the 11. I think White returns to right back. Yeah, do we all agree on that?
I would agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ben White's done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
We had a few blips pre-season, but no, overall he's been very good for us. And I would imagine that he was probably a little bit upset, not to get that berth last week. So
okay, cool. Well, he started centre back, to be fair, but
yeah, Ben White. I'm trying to think. I did the 11 in my head, and it's just no. Yeah, Ben White right back. Yes, cool. 100%. But I think I'm gonna have a bit difference when it comes to the left centre back and left back position. But we'll get.
We'll touch on that first. So who are your centre back pairing?
So my centre back pairing would be Saliba and Kivior.
Interesting. I'm going Saliba and Gabriel.
I'm also going Saliba and Gabriel. So
I don't
we'll
think
go with
Gabriel's
that
when I listened to Arteta's press conference, I hope he didn't mean Gabriel Jesus, but he said Gabriel is not available due to fitness. So I don't know. It's unlikely he'll be there for fitness. So unless you're talking about Gabriel Jesus, but I'm sure he would have he said Gabriel. So that's the only, I want Saliba and Gabriel.
He could have been talking about Jesus. He is injured.
Yes, so I hear that. But and obviously Magalhaes doesn't play last game and
he came on.
Yeah, but he mentioned about fitness in his press conference. He said he's not available due to fitness. He might be talking about Jesus. If he's not, then I want William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes, but I put in Kiwior there thinking that Gabriel Magalhaes will not be available.
Okay.
Is it me? But that partnership last season was outstanding.
Yeah, I agree.
No, it
seems
is.
a no-brainer for
100%.
me.
100%.
So yeah, to me, they've got to, if they're both fit and ready to start, for me, they've got to start.
Okay.
So I'm going to come in on the left back thing first, because in talking transfers, I made a prediction that I think the other three of you were sort of a bit like, wow, really? Like so soon? But I think Zinchenko starts this game. I think he's been back in full training for nearly 2 weeks, or come the Palace game, it would have been nearly 2 weeks. I think they played this behind closed doors friendly to get minutes in the legs of Raya, who hasn't played for the club yet.
Yep.
Zinchenko's had injuries. Nelson, who didn't have a pre-season. Minutes for other squad players needed. And also there's a big sort of 9-day gap between that win against Forest and the Palace game. I think Zinchenko is going to be called in, especially if Simba's injured. I think he's going to want to revert to last year's system. So Zinni starts for me.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. And listen, if Zinchenko or Tierney starts, I'm happy with either. We know about the inverted fullbacks that the manager likes to go with. And I know you're a big fan of Zinchenko as well.
Huge fan, yeah.
So listen, yeah, Zinchenko makes sense for me. But if it's Tierney, I've got no complaints on.
Well, it could even be Tomiyasu, who obviously came on for Timber.
I think Zinchenko as well, by the way, but you convinced me of that. I'm talking transfers. I was like, wow, so soon. But because of the in-house behind closed door friendly, that's now changed my mind to say that Zinchenko probably will be starting. But I think it's sad because I want to see Tierney as in some capacity in his Arsenal side. I know Arteta got asked in his press conference, like, is he still part of your plans? Obviously, he said, well, he played in the final, he got minutes, so of course. But yeah, I think you need a lot of physicality there. I know Zinchenko's not that. So, but I think he adds so much to our attack that he's going to start. But Tomiyasu would be, for me, the second option. Which
I actually agree with you. I think if it's not Zinchenko and he's not deemed match fit, I think Tomiyasu starts over Tierney. I think that's the pecking order for Arteta.
Who would you say has got the greater physicality between Tomiyasu and Tierney?
Tomiyasu is
incredibly strong.
He's 6'2". I don't know if he's quicker, but he's definitely like a better one-on-one defender. I think Tierney's very good at, shuttling, marking space, like getting his body in the way, kind of just being an all-round really committed defender. But I think Tomiyasu...
If you talk to a lot of Arsenal fans, they will say when it comes to traditional defending one-on-one, Tierney has the edge over Tomiyasu. But I do agree with you that...
Tierney's got more going forward.
Well, yeah. But I think as an athlete, I think Tomiyasu probably edges.
Yeah,
it.
I think they think Tierney's just a no-nonsense defender in the sense that he gets the ball, clears it. Yeah. That's what they mean.
He's an up and down fullback as well. Right. He's like
it's a traditional-ish in that sort of sense. But
he's that 2000s fullback, that we sort of until Pep Guardiola came in was fashionable. It's what Andy Robertson's been, the getting up and down. But I just don't think Arteta. We've seen that at all. I mean, we see that more from our right back in Ben White, who's a centre back. So. Okay, so Zinni, we think, is likely going to start. Okay,
I think Zinchenko starts.
Okay, cool. Let's go into midfield now. So, are we restoring Partey to midfield?
Listen, when it was a few seasons ago when he played in, he had to come off and just
the season collapsed.
Capitulated. Arsenal did. So when I talk about Partey and right back, why I don't like it so much, I've seen Partey in that the main role he plays in midfield, and Arsenal just flourish and click right into gear. So. I only think it's right, and he's done it here. And like I said before, when he come off, it just collapsed, like you mentioned. I think you have to put Partey back in there.
I think Partey returns, and I think it'll be him with Odegaard and Rice. What do you think?
That's what I want to see. If you look back at last season when we were playing our best football, Partey was at the heart of that. And I think we need to get him back into his right and proper position. Mm-hmm. And obviously we have Declan Rice in midfield as well, so...
There's a nice physicality there. Odegaard works really hard. I think he's been purring at the start of this season, great in the Community Shield. She's had some really lovely moments against Forest. And then you got Rice as that box-to-box, but he can tuck in next to Partey. That's a difficult midfield to play. That's a midfield that can overwhelm a Jefferson Lerma, a Doucouré maybe as well. And if you're talking about a physical battle, Arsenal can deal with that midfield pairing.
Yeah, James, exactly that. You look at that midfield, I feel secure as a fan seeing that when it comes to physicality. And I know Arteta, he's like 3 steps ahead and probably wants to think about, getting into pockets of space and not getting involved in that battle. But at least we have that with Declan Rice, Partey, and you have Martin Odegaard can float into pockets of spaces. And they can also do that as well.
The other thing I'd like to say as well, let's not be under any illusions. Here it's going to be a very physical game
100%.
on Monday. And Partey and Rice in midfield and Odegaard is exactly what we want.
Okay, so let's get these other two out of the way. Saka, Martinelli. We agree they start, right?
Oh,
Let's
absolutely.
yeah.
No brainer.
Yeah,
No
fine. No brainer, they're in. So then the debate
100%.
becomes about that striking position. Your options are Eddie Nketiah, goal against Nottingham Forest. Havertz, very good performance against Man City in the Community Shield. Trossard, the player of pre-season, and apparently scorer of 2 goals in this behind closed door friendly. So, who'd you go with?
Me personally, I'll go with Eddie. I'm not sure if the manager will. Again, we're talking physicality. I would argue that of the three, Eddie is probably going to give you that little bit more physical up front. He looks to me to be a bit quicker than the others, slightly stronger. Yeah, I'd go with Eddie. He played well last week, got a goal, looking sharp. Why not?
Okay.
James, this one's very difficult for me. I'll be completely honest.
Why?
I've been trying to work it out in my head as you went to Laurie there, and I'm leaning towards Eddie Nketiah. I'll be completely honest, because I keep always saying, what more can the boy do? I still think we do need to get a prolific striker, but what he's done so far in his past performances, I think he's earned a right to keep that position. But you can kind of say the same for Trossard, which makes me really battle in my head of who I'd really want to see start. I think I'm going to stick with Eddie. Only reasons why I think, he can be physical, but I have seen him be sloppy when it comes to holding up the ball. Havertz, I haven't mentioned, but for me, he's out the equation just because of physicality. I think he's very good at dropping into space and he can offer something different, but I don't think he starts this game. I think we go full out pressing and attack and intensity, and sadly, I don't think Havertz provides that when it comes to the front line. I think he's very good, like I said, finding pockets and scoring goals, but I feel like Eddie will be able to press more efficiently, more intensely.
I think it's very intuitive what the manager said last week. He gave an interview and he said in that interview, I'm paraphrasing, he said, Eddie trained like a beast and I had no option but to play him. And I kind of like the way that sounded. And I think that Eddie is in that mood where he's got a point to prove. And the manager knows that. And I think it's good for the manager. He's got options there. But for me, I would say that Trossard is the more technically gifted. So he probably will play at some part, as will Havertz probably. But for the man to start for me is Eddie.
I think you guys make some great points. And, obviously that's 2 votes out of 3. So Eddie gets the place in the 11. But I will say, I'm going with Trossard. I think we're going to see a lot more horses for courses from Arteta this season. We're going to see a lot more. Who are we facing? What does that require? Okay, so the tactic against Man City was to beat the press. We talked about on tactical insight. We talked about how our long ball success percentage went up with Havertz there as well. David Raya, very, very good with this kind of long range kicks and his launches. That is something that we're going to add to our game. But do you get that benefit of going long here at Selhurst? I'm not sure you do.
No, you don't.
I don't think you win that battle.
You don't.
Then you're talking about Eddie. Well, I think the beauty of Eddie is if you can create chances for him, he's going to put them away. But actually, with Declan Rice and Odegaard floating, you have to do some defending. You're going to have to be in a tight shape. How many chances are we going to have, come for Eddie? To a degree, he's going to have to be a chance maker. And so I land on Trossard here, the player who can interchange with Martinelli, create something out of nothing.
Yeah.
I remember, I'm so annoyed this goal didn't stand, the one against Leicester, because the Ben White pull on the goalkeeper hand. That was a corner, touch out of his feet, top corner, like bam. It was just like out of nothing. And he did that against the All-Stars, and he scored 2 against, was it 2? Yeah, 2 against Barcelona. Yeah. These were half chances that he turned into goals. That Tierney cross looked good because Trossard held his run, opened his body, and just side-footed it into the corner of the net. He can turn so little into something. And I think in a game like this, you need him. And I think you're going to need, if Rice is playing in that 8, Odegaard and Trossard floating into spaces, picking up pockets, having Rice running beyond, having Martin and Saka dart in, and Trossard knitting it all together. So I just think he has to get the vote.
James. I give you that, James. That was a great breakdown.
Absolutely right, but I would still start Eddie. I'll tell you why. If you look at the back 4 of Crystal Palace, you got Anderson in there, Tyreek Mitchell, Gay, and who's the other one? Joel Ward. Physical, big, strong guys, and you need someone who's going to occupy.
Trossard's strong though, in in a Hazard way, in a low center of gravity. Like he just gets his body in the way. He can spin players, and his movement is so intelligent. He's so difficult to pick up. Although I do get what you're saying.
Yeah, and you are right about that. And listen, I would bring Trossard on at some point. However, if you ask me who's going to get the starting berth, I think Eddie is the more physical of the options he's got, and I think Eddie will get the start.
James, you made some great points. So fair play to you, bro. So did you, Lloyd. Okay, no. But when you broke that down, I think is that what you want to see, or you think Arteta's going to
No, it's what I want to see. I'm undecided with that. I don't know what Arteta's going to do.
Because everything you said there, I think we struggle against a low block. I think Trossard is the best to get us out of teams that go put up a low block against us. I think he does create something out of nothing. So it does, what you said there makes a lot of sense. But I'm going to agree with Laurie.
Right?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Laurie.
It's great to have options.
Eddie will start, and then you will see his Trossard.
And it's nice to have a sophisticated debate about it. Who knew? There we go, everyone. Let us know in the comment section below. Who would you go with up front? What would the rest of your team look like? Does Zinchenko get the nod at left back, even though he's not even played a minute of pre-season football, but he did get some minutes behind closed doors? Of course, you know, Jesus and Timber are out injured as well. Both of them nursing knee injuries. Jesus expected to be back soon, but we wish Timber all the best of luck. And also, happy retirement to Theo Walcott. We didn't say that in the preview, but he has retired. So, yeah.
Surprising, though.
I looked at his numbers.
34.
He averaged a goal or an assist every 2 games for Arsenal. So not a bad record. Listen, he wasn't always my favourite player, but a very classy individual, and he had big moments for Arsenal and scored some big games in cup finals. And he was loyal to the club, and I wish him the very best.
Yeah, big up Phil Walcott, and retiring on Thierry Henry, the king, his birthday. So happy birthday to Thierry Henry. The time recording as well was yesterday. Have to get that in there because he's the king.
A message for Declan or anything?
No, just a message to Matt Hine. Big up, man. Good luck with your career.
Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to this absolute madness of a channel. And we'll see you very, very soon. Ramsdale versus David Raya.
And Matt Hine? Oh, no. Matt Hine? No. Okay.
Matt Hine?
Matt Hine.
Is that his name?
No.
It's Carl.
Carl! Wait, please can we go get off? I'm sorry.
No. He just asked if we can cut. We're not cutting.
Yeah, I'm going Ramsdale. There will be the temptation to put Raya
John Ramsdale, yeah? We're recording.
We're sorry. Sorry, please, because please, because that was terrible. I thought it was.
He just said Matt
Hine.
What? Yeah.
No, I was having a nightmare. All right, let's flirt. Sorry, can we go for the top? Matt Hine, but it's Carl.
Put this all in the outtakes.
Yeah. Sorry, people.